And let me just throw this in there. So I bought a whole bunch of new Morphe brushes. Using the Morphe brushes and Ahn-Tee Denona stuff, I just had a euphoric experience, you guys. I had a euphoric experience. Hey you guys, it's me Kai, so I'm back with another video. Make sure you support a girl. Hit me up on Instagram at pretty1234me, and make sure you subscribe to my channel for future content. I'm going to be reviewing Ahn-Tee Natasha Denona's Biba Neutral Eyeshadow Palette. Let's start off with why I decided to get it. Couple of things. First being, I went on the Sephora website and there it was, new release eyeshadows. Never really dabbled in Natasha Denona before. I've been interested in dabbling more in higher end cosmetics. I don't think high end necessarily equates to high quality. But I'll start off right now by saying I do believe that this palette equates to exceptional quality. But I wanted to try her products and I wanted to try this palette. What I think was most attractive about this palette is the fact that it is a neutral palette. Neutral palettes are better suited, as far as I'm concerned, for everyday wear. Also, she has some deep shades as well as some light shades in this palette. She had a really good range. So I thought that you can really take advantage of day to night transition looks. And what really encouraged me to go ahead and take a dive in the deep end with this palette is the fact that on the Sephora website, she has videos and pictures of this palette on various different women. So there's an Asian lady on there, there's a white lady on there, and that there's this African chick, well, I don't even know if she's African, but there's a black woman on there. And when I was able to see Natasha apply these colors on that lady, I was sold because the look was so beautiful on her and it really made it relatable. I could actually see myself wearing some of the colors. So Ahn-Tee, the fact that you featured this palette demonstrated on various different women's skin types, eye types, you have a great, exceptional advertising and marketing team. Great strategy. So that's why I went ahead and got this palette. Now, has it disappointed me at all? No. It is, as far as I'm concerned, worth it. Worth it because it's an everyday palette. Worth it because it's quality. Worth it because high pigmented colors. Worth it because it's easy to blend. Now, let me tell you about me. I've got a little bit of, like right here is a little meaty on me. And depending on the day and depending on how severe my allergies are, it can be really puffy. And so powders, if they're not easy to blend, can kind of get stuck. Things get stuck on the skin. And the fact that these colors are so blendable, I didn't have any of that nagging, which really was great. I found it so easy to apply. I found it so easy to work with. And I imagine as I get older, I'm just gonna have more and more of this kind of hangingness going on or more hoodedness happening. And it's really great to know that despite that, because it's not a con to have hooded eyes or hooded anything, but despite that, I know now that there's a formula that I can probably go to no matter what age I am. So, other things. Oh gosh. Oh, I love you, baby. Now let's talk about the colors. The whole scheme, color scheme of the palette is of course neutral, but you do have some warm shades, you do have some cool shades. In addition to the colors, there are also 3 different formulas. There's metallic pressed powder, there's matte pressed powder, and then there's cream powder. And the cream powders, as Natasha mentions, tend to be darker in the pan than they are when you actually apply them. Something that I liked about these cream shadows, rayon being the first one that comes to mind, you can build the colors, and essentially I found that I didn't really observe it to be lighter than what was in the pan if you're building the colors. Let me also say I took notes from Ahn-Tee Natasha, which is when I was looking at her videos, the way in which she applied these colors is she took her time applying and blending, applying and blending, applying and building. And so that is the way that I'm going to continue to use this palette and use the colors in this palette, because she created it and then that's how she's applying it. I want to make sure to kind of follow that. And I think that'll help me take greatest advantage of how to use these shadows. The fact that it's neutral to me makes it most suitable for everyday wear. And I'm a huge fan of that. Also, the fact that there's a black eyeshadow in there, and apparently it's the first time she's put black in an eyeshadow, but the fact that there's a black eyeshadow in there I think is awesome because it just makes it so easy to transition into nighttime wear. Not saying that you have to rely on a black shadow to do that, but just when black is there, I just think anything is possible. In the look that she had on the black lady at Sephora, she ended up using Spot as a soft liner to the look, which I just thought was so beautiful. In the beginning of this video is a picture of a look that I created yesterday wearing Natasha Denona's eyeshadow palette. And in fact, I don't really take credit for the eyes because I was trying to mimic what I'd seen in that Sephora video, but it was completely inspired by that video. So hope you like it. I'm working on editing that tutorial right now as we speak. The lighting quality is so bad. You see, today I got it right. I got the lighting right. You can look forward to better lighting videos in the future. But forgive me for yesterday's mishap. Her colors are fun and flirty. I really think that neutral doesn't mean boring. Neutral also doesn't mean necessarily natural. Natural is going to be different for every skin tone, but this neutral I think is just great. I think anybody can take advantage of the colors in this palette, and they can take advantage of every color in the palette. I personally didn't experience any fallout, which I think was exceptional. You already know from my Anastasia review that I'm not a fan of fallout just because of my irritable eyes, so huge plus that there was no fallout with this palette. This is my first Natasha Denona eyeshadow palette, you guys. This is my first Natasha Denona product, and you know, it's only right that I adopt her as Ahn-Tee Natasha because I'm loving this palette. So I'm a manager now, and I've been reading books on how to be a good manager. One of the things is when you're delivering news, you kind of do the whole sandwich method, right? Positive, negative, and then you conclude with the positive so somebody doesn't feel terrible on their way out of your office. So I'm going to exercise that now by quickly addressing the cons. And then we're going to conclude this on a high note. My only cons about this palette has nothing to do with the actual shadows or their performance. Has everything to do with how I received it. So when I received my eyeshadow palette, you guys, as you can see on the back, you have the opportunity of pushing the colors out. But I had some eyeshadow coming out of these holes, which was weird because when I look at the eyeshadow itself, I didn't really see anything that would concern me. When I received it also on the mirror, don't worry about my dirty fingerprints, but I hope you can see it. You can see the outlining of some of the shadows on the mirror. Now, I know that's gonna happen. I still didn't like it, not for $129. By the color Tusk, I also had some eyeshadow that was just kind of hanging out right here. It was just the weirdest thing. So that's the only con I have. It really doesn't. Do you guys like ASMR? So those are really the only cons that I have, and it has nothing to do with, per se, the performance of the eyeshadow palette, but really speaks to what happened when it was transported and delivered to my house. I just don't like that. I mean, look. When you're spending $129, you have afforded yourself the opportunity to be picky about aesthetics, and so that is why I'm mentioning that. I just did not like it. Okay? I just didn't like it. I'm a sucker for aesthetics, and so when I see something off, which probably drives my husband nuts. When I see something off, it just really you know what I mean? It just kind of stings a little bit in the heart. But Ahn-Tee Natasha, I forgive you. I don't think that was you. I think that was UPS. Let's conclude on the high note, you guys. This palette is beautiful. It just is, okay? I'm a sucker for aesthetics. I'll say it every time I get an opportunity to say it. All neutral. Natasha Denona Biba palette. I just love it. I love the way that it feels. It feels sturdy. It feels sturdy. It feels sturdy. This will probably be my go-to palette when I'm traveling for work because this can work with anything you're wearing, and it's really, really making it worth my investment. This mirror, you guys, is the real deal. Now, I got a small head and a long face. This mirror can keep up with my face. But for real, like looking at this mirror, you guys, I can do my whole face. I can see everything. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. Who is the fairest of them all? In addition to aesthetics, the palette just being a really great feeling sturdy palette, in addition to the awesome mirror that's big enough for you to see your entire face, it also has the names of the colors listed, and I love that it doesn't have that flimsy plastic over it. You guys, after everything that I have said, do I recommend Ahn-Tee's palette? Absolutely. I absolutely recommend Ahn-Tee's palette. This is something else. This is my first Ahn-Tee Denona anything, and I'm really excited about this. I really want to dive in the deep end and just go buy hella stuff from her line, but I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna play with this a little longer. Just keep an eye out and see what other products she has coming out. But for my first experience with something from her, I highly recommend it. You guys, do you have this palette? Do you have maybe some of her other palettes? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye. Rock my baby on the treetop. I'm gonna take care of you. When the wind blows, your cradle will rock.